Jordan Poole's contract was so terrible that the Warriors had to pay money just to get rid of him. The Warriors got Chris Paul, the Wizards got Jordan Poole, Ryan Hollins, a protected 2031 first-round pick, and a 2027 second-round pick. Poole will make $130 million over the next 4 years, but the guy couldn't even play well in the playoffs. The Warriors were so desperate they paid the Wizards to take Poole off their hands. In return, they get Chris Paul for 1 season too. Try to win a championship. But how well will CP3 fit with the team? We'll talk about that. But this is great news for Draymond Green because he and Jordan Poole's friendship never got better. 1 week ago, Draymond chose not to take his final year contract and became a free agent. He could have left for a team with money to spend like the Rockets or the Pistons, or maybe done a sign and trade deal. Now, the Warriors are saying, we love you. Please come back. We have money for you. But that punch video being leaked was the best thing ever for Jordan Poole. The guy was embarrassed and everyone felt bad for him during contract talks. So the Warriors gave him $130 million like, hey, we're really sorry about the punch. Here's enough money to last forever. At the same time, it was the worst thing for Draymond. He became the #1 bad guy in the NBA before Dillon Brooks took over. Articles were written saying he's definitely going to leave the Warriors. The video leaking felt like a punch to the stomach, like someone in my own building betrayed me to make me look terrible. But as the season went on, Draymond showed why he will be in the Hall of Fame one day, and Poole completely fell apart. Round 1. 12 points a game, shooting only 26% from three-point range. Round 2, 8 points, shooting 25% from far away with horrible turnovers. Warrior fans turned against him faster than the NBA media turned against Russell Westbrook. But in the middle of the season, everything changed. The league got together to gang up on the Warriors. For years, they have spent the most money in the NBA. Their owner, Joe Lecca, will pay whatever it takes to surround Steph, Clay, and Draymond with good players. But now the richest teams have to pay huge penalties, which is a problem for Draymond because they paid Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins last year. Did that mean Draymond was leaving? Not anymore. Chris Paul makes $30.8 million, but his contract ends next summer, so now they can afford to keep their main players together. It's not guaranteed, but it's much more likely. But how does Chris Paul fit with the Warriors? They already have point guards. Steph Curry plays point guard with Gary Payton too, and Dante DiVincenzo backing him up. Steph actually played point guard 100% of the time last year. In fact, the last time he played even 1/3 of his minutes at shooting guard was his rookie year with Monta Ellis. This is going to be a huge change unless Chris Paul agrees to come off the bench. That would be perfect. Leading the second team as a smart, experienced veteran playing against other backup players. But would CP accept that role? He has never come off the bench before. He has always been the main guy on his team and is one of the most vocal leaders in sports. But maybe he wants to win a championship that badly, so he's willing to be a sixth man? But if not, playing point guard isn't actually unfair to who Steph is. I mean, he's not a typical point guard because he moves around so much without the ball. I mean, Draymond handles the ball and helps set up plays a lot on this team, and they have had traditional point guards before, especially with Chris Paul's low turnovers. There is a way this could work, or this entire move could be a trick. They could be pulling another D'Angelo Russell move. Back in 2019, Kevin Durant tore his Achilles and decided he was tired of winning championships. He'd rather team up with his buddy Curie and get back to losing like he did in Oklahoma City. Only in Brooklyn, and that plan worked out great. But the Warriors did a sneaky trade to bring back and at the time they said, oh, we love D'Angelo Russell. He fits in great here. And then they traded him at the trade deadline. Yahoo just reported Golden State will not cut Chris Paul, and they're looking forward to working with him on a championship run. Yeah, right? This whole thing could be about making his trade value higher so they can deal him at the deadline, which is exactly what they did with D'Angelo and got back Andrew Wiggins. Now, obviously that kind of trade isn't realistic with Chris Paul, but maybe they're trying to get 2 or maybe 3 role players back for depth. So they start the season with Chris Paul while he is healthy, good shooters around him. Chris looks great, and they trade him for bench help. Last time, when they had a little depth with Otto Porter and Nemanja Bjelica, they won a championship. Not that a team trying to win would love Chris Paul, but at least his expiring contract looks good. A tanking team like the Pistons or the Rockets, who might have veterans, would trade them to the Warriors. But the underrated thing about this trade for Golden State is Ryan Hollins. He's a young guy who doesn't really play, but he is a spot on their roster that is now freed up for a veteran minimum player who wants to win a championship. It's what they did with DeMarcus Cousins or David West back in the day. They are now replacing Ryan Hollins, who doesn't play, with some veteran who can give them a few minutes. If they add that with depth from another Chris Paul trade later, this could be a championship winning move. But what about the Wizards? They have gotten rid of Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis in 1 week and got 0 first-round picks. How is that possible in a world where Rudy Gobert goes for a bunch of 6 first-round picks? They got more first-round picks for Chris Paul than Bell and Porzingis combined. Now, that's not technically true because Chris Paul is part of the Bradley Beal trade, but it's crazy. I feel bad for their fans. The plan will be to be terrible for like 5 years while picking high in the draft. Then, hopefully years from now, they might have some good young players. Then they'll have to wait years for them to get better. So maybe in like 2033, the Wizards could be a contender. It's like the process only worse because the chances of getting a top pick are now horrible. Imagine the Pistons having the worst record in the NBA last year and picking 5th. That's the world the Wizards are living in now. They do have a decent backcourt with Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole, but those guys are decent with stars around them, especially Tyus Jones, best assist to turnover ratio in the NBA. But that really matters when you have like a Ja Morant scoring 30 points on his own. He's like a decent role player that no one pays attention to. But we can finally say the 2 timeline warriors are dead. They tried to set up the future with the present by drafting like a James Wiseman instead of trading the number 2 pick. And it failed. Now, they traded a 24-year-old Jordan Poole for a dude who's 39 in next year's playoffs. Like, we think we'd be better with a guy who's almost 40. It's a big risk because Poole was actually important when Steph and Clay rested in the regular season. Poole struggled in the playoffs, but could still give you 30 points on any given night when he was the main focus. But this is about winning now, which will not work. Chris gets hurt a lot at this point, and even in his prime, he's a different guy in big games. If they're depending on him in like a conference finals, history says it will fail. That's why I think 6th-man role makes sense for Chris Paul or trading him again at the deadline. It reminds me of the Lakers when people were like, oh, LA has 5 Hall of Famers. But really, it was like old Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Westbrook, LeBron, Anthony Davis. Oh yeah, they're Hall of Famers. But at this point, the production isn't there. But we could see more gigantic trades. Even if Zion Williamson is not traded on draft night, the rumors are getting crazy. New Orleans really wants Scoot Henderson. And a report says Zion could be the guy they trade. Check it out.